welcome to the PALLATT, the podcast about language learning and teacher training by IH London. My name's Becky, and today I'm going to be talking with my colleague Julija about life in London and her favourite things to do in the city. Hi Julija.
Hi Becky.
Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today. How are you doing?
My pleasure. I am very well. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm enjoying the sunshine.
Yeah, me too.
So today we're just going to speak a little bit about London and some of your favourite things to do there, some of the best memories you have there, and any tips you might have for people visiting.
Sure. Yeah, let's get started.
Brilliant. So my first question for you is, can you describe London in 3 words?
It's a good one. 3 words. Mine would be, I'd say diverse, vibrant, and friendly.
Lovely.
Yeah, how does that sound?
That sounds good to me. Can you explain a little bit why you chose these words?
Friendly, I think, because, having visited lots of, for example, European capitals, I do find London quite friendly, compared to some other countries. Obviously, no offense here, but I do think London is a quite a friendly bunch. Vibrant, I just think there's so many things, to do in London. There's like so many attractions and everything is just like uber exciting. And then diverse, because you can meet all kind of people in London. It's really, really great. It's like a melting pot of the cultures.
Definitely, I completely agree with all of those points, but especially the diversity. Any type of person from anywhere in the world, you can find them in London.
For sure.
Fantastic. So, my second question, what is your favourite time of year in London?
I'd probably say spring is my favorite. The cherry blossom and the parks, it's all like so beautiful. I'd definitely say spring. And the weather is great. Like, it's not too hot, not too cold. It's just that right temperature.
Lovely. Good choice. See, my favourite is summer, but then when it's hot like it is today, when it's this heat...
These days, it makes you reconsider,
exactly,
doesn't it?
It's crazy at the moment. Okay, so are there any particular events in London that you enjoy? So that could be seasonal events or sporting events, anything like that.
I'd probably say all kind of Christmas events, like Christmas lights, Christmas markets. Like, I think London Christmas time looks absolutely magical. If you go to like Oxford Street, you've got all the like angels and things like that. It's just super exciting. Kind of makes you feel, like something is gonna happen. Kind of makes you believe in magic. So for
Definitely.
sure, the Christmas events. Yeah,
that's a really good choice. That's exactly the word I would use: magic at Christmas in London. Okay, so what about a museum or gallery or something like that? What's your favourite museum in London?
It's a hard choice because there are just so many, right? I'd probably say Tate Modern on South Bank. It's just like, I feel it kind of represents the spirit of London because it's obviously a converted, the warehouse or whatever that was before. So it's just, makes you feel like a real Londoner when you go there because there's so many, converted buildings in here, and it's kind of like, it's very special. I do like that they have different, exhibitions. They do have like changing, they do change the rooms and exhibitions and things like that. So it's just, it's very interesting because you can always find something new.
Absolutely. I love that. That's a really good choice. And I've never thought about the conversion of the building, but that's so true. The history within the actual building itself. Excellent. Okay, so on to food. Obviously, there are a million different places to eat in London, but what type of food in particular do you enjoy eating in London? And do you have a favourite restaurant or an area that you would recommend other people go to try?
I'd probably say, it's a hard one, obviously, given all the, restaurants, but I'd probably say my favorite thing about London are the food markets, like food courts and things like that. To name the one, I do enjoy Mercato Mayfair. Again, coming back to the converted buildings, it is a converted building indeed. So when you come there, it's just that like strange, experience. And then obviously you do have lots of vendors, selling different kinds of food there. Again, you can embrace, different cultures within London. So it's just, yeah, probably I'd say Mercato Mayfair is one of my favorite places to go to. Obviously there are lots of restaurants, but yeah, this one is one of the favorites.
Brilliant. Yeah, agreed. I like the food markets because, like you say, the diversity, the melting pot, such a big variety. Every different market or food court that you go to just has such a range. So my next question is about the landmarks and monuments of London. Obviously, there's loads of iconic places in this city. Which is your favourite to go and visit?
Yeah, again, lots of things to choose from, but I'd probably say the Shard because you can literally see it from anywhere, whatever part of London you go, you can see it from anywhere. So it kind of reminds you that, oh, hey, I'm in London. So I'd probably say that. And it's just really cool to look at. It's just all, glass structure. And I think it's an amazing piece of architecture.
Absolutely, it's beautiful. Do you remember London before the Shard? Because obviously it's not very old, is it?
I did move here in 2012, so I'm not sure what year was it built.
I think it was
We'd
being
need
built
to check on
then.
that, yeah.
Yeah. I vaguely remember the Shard opening and it being really exciting. It wasn't that long ago. But it's become so iconic so quickly because obviously you can see it from everywhere in the city.
I mean, the view from the top is great. I definitely recommend visiting, the Shard over, for example, the London Eye, because I think the view is just so much better, really.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a really good tip, actually. So, next question is, which of London's parks is your favourite and why?
Oh, definitely St. James Park. Like, I love St. James Park in spring. Again, talking about cherry blossoms and squirrels and parakeets and whatever you can find there. It's just, again, about that magical feeling of it. It's just, the actual thought that is just so close to Buckingham Palace as well. And, I mean, it's obviously close to work as well. So that's where I usually go. But yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite ones. Probably the second favorite is Richmond Park. Like, it's really different. It's obviously more, wild. And obviously it's a residential area. But yeah, I'd probably say these two. Yeah, for sure.
Lovely.
Not to miss.
Excellent choices. Yeah, really, really good choices. So we've talked about loads of different things that you like to do and you like to look at and experience in London. But what is your favourite thing to do with your free time in the city?
Favorite thing, I'd probably say, well, yeah, it depends on the season. I'd probably say winter, October. The best thing is to, meet your friends, go explore the food markets, the food courts, all kind of bars, all kind of indoor experiences. In spring, summer, I do like outdoor activities, like picnics in the park, like yoga in the park, things like that. So yeah, and obviously, I mean, any time of the year you can go explore galleries, museums, and it's great that they're free, so you can go anytime, really.
Absolutely brilliant. So speaking of free things or advice tips for people, do you have any insider London advice that you would give to someone visiting the city?
I probably don't say I don't have like a very original advice, but probably say that some people are let's say when they think about London, they think it's something very expensive, and to travel to London, means they need like lots of money, which yeah, partially can be true, depends on what kind of experience you'd like to have. But I think it's important to point out that again, so many different attractions like museums, galleries, parks, you don't need to pay for that. They're free to visit. And if you're on a budget, for example, you can definitely visit London. Like, you don't need to break the bank. And I think that's what most, tourist students, they sometimes don't realize that. So it's probably my best advice, go check out these free activities because there's so much to do.
Definitely. I think that's fantastic advice because for us, because we live here, it's obvious, but to someone visiting, it might not be so clear.
Yeah, so obvious because again, in lots of countries and lots of major cities, most of these attractions are actually paid, and they do charge quite a bit of money. So I think that's what people don't realize.
Definitely,
so yeah, it's a good
even
thing to remember.
Compared to other cities in the UK, you might have to pay for more things like museums and galleries and stuff. But in London, so much is free. Yeah, that's really good advice.
Sure.
So, do you have a favourite or a memorable London moment?
Oh, It probably has to be the royal wedding,
Mm,
because that's the period when I actually moved to London. So, for me, this is something I remember as like my first event, and obviously I was kind of overwhelmed and blown away by the whole, like the crowds of people and everyone's being so cheerful and excited, and yeah, definitely that.
that was a great time. I still
That feels
remember.
like years ago now.
It was 10 years now, but I remember it was amazing because the Olympics was in London that same summer, and it was London fever that year, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Really,
for sure, for
really
sure.
good choice. Okay, last question. So, why should students choose to study in London, in your opinion?
Mm. Well, there are obviously so many reasons, but I think the main one is that, yeah, you can just meet people from all over the world, from different backgrounds, like different, ways of life. And I think the most important thing is that in a place like London, you feel like everyone belongs. That's why you can never feel out of place, because there's so many, people here. So I think that's the kind of great feeling about that city, that everyone who comes here, they will belong one way or another.
Absolutely, I love that. I think that's completely true, and that's the perfect description of London. So that's a lovely place to finish the podcast. So thank you so much, Julia, and
It's my
I'll speak to
pleasure.
you soon.
Thank you for interviewing me.
Absolutely, thank you for taking the time.